Preparing the live stream now. Setting up meeting for YouTube Live. All right, here we go. All right, welcome everybody. We are live on YouTube and on Zoom. And welcome to Admissions TV. And today is Virtual Presentation Monday, featuring your host, Tom King, and yours truly, Lexington Maximus, to talk about all things virtual. Now, today we're talking about sound and audio, and really all things technological today, to start with anyway. So, Tom, you started to say just before we went live, talking about sound. Is sound that important? Can't they just use their computer sound?
And absolutely, sound is critical. So we've heard a lot of people doing presentations and seen a lot of them. And even if you have a great presentation, but your sound or your lighting or something that shows and helps you come across, because we know that the connection that you make, how do you come as close to in person with virtual as possible? How do we recreate the in-person experience virtually? Already technology is going to take away a large percentage of your enthusiasm, the way you come across, the way you look, the way you act, that physiological piece of human communication. That's all comes across with technology. So sound, how you sound makes all the difference in the world. And then also how you look makes all the difference. I think it's overlooked by most schools.
Overlooked. Literally overlooked. And the number one thing, here's the thing. If you were given a choice between, can I have great sound or great video? What would you choose? And you should never have that choice. It should be great for both. But if you had to choose, what would you choose?
Sound.
Sound, Joshua. Anyone else agree with that?
I would say sound too.
Anyone disagree with that? All right. If you're given the choice between great sound and great video, you can actually be more effective if you have great sound and poor pixelated video than you could be with crystal clear 8K video and echoey sound. And so just going around the room, just say, hi, I'm curious, what inspires you to consider becoming a ... Pick a program. Let's go around the room, and I want each of you to hear how each of you sound. And I'll start it off, and then Tom, and then we'll go with Bonnie and go around the room. I'm curious, what inspires you to consider becoming a massage therapist? Hear the quality of my sound. And next, Tom.
I'm curious, what inspires you to consider becoming a ...
Good. All right. And Bonnie.
I'm curious, what inspired you to become a medical assistant?
What inspires is the word, Bonnie.
Okay. I'm curious, what inspires you to become a medical assistant?
One more time. To consider becoming. Don't forget that word consider.
Okay.
One more time.
I'm curious. What? I can do it again. Say it again.
I'm curious. What inspires you to consider, which is in the script, becoming a medical assistant? And everyone, listen to Bonnie's sound as she's doing this.
Okay. I'm curious. What inspires you to become a medical assistant?
To consider. Don't forget that word, because philosophically, when you say what inspires you to become, you're pushing that person. They don't know that they haven't made a decision yet. That's and you know what, Bonnie? Most people, they'll read the script and they will not see that word. It becomes invisible. I've seen it. You're not the only one. Our appointment setters at our appointment setting division do the same thing. So one more time, again, listen to Bonnie's sound.
Okay. I'm curious. What inspires you to consider becoming a medical assistant?
Excellent. Jody.
Hi, Lex. I'm curious, I can't even say it. I have it in front of me. What inspires you to consider becoming a massage therapist?
Good. Shelby.
Hi, Lex. I'm curious, what inspires you to consider becoming a massage therapist?
Okay, good. Remember to get rid of the hey, Lex. Hey is for horses. A lot of people do that, Shelby. All right, Caitlin.
Hi, I'm curious what inspires you to consider becoming a massage therapist?
All right, excellent. Nancy.
Hi, I'm curious, what inspires you to consider becoming a medical assistant?
Thank you. Joshua.
I'm curious. What inspires you to want to become an underwater basket weaver?
Joshua. I just said it. I'm considering becoming an underwater basket weaver. I have not made my decision yet. I don't know if I can afford it yet.
That's very exciting.
Right. Yes. All right. So let's go around the room.
Make sure we keep using the word consider in there, though. That was the key.
Right. Even if you're joking around, you still use consider.
Yeah, use consider. Get used to it.
Consider becoming.
Right. Right. All right. So let's go around the room. How was Tom's sound?
Great.
Good.
Right, excellent. How was my sound?
Perfect.
All right. How was Bonnie's sound?
Echoey.
Bonnie was echoey.
Right. We're not making a judgment against Bonnie. Bonnie's awesome. But her sound, the technology she's using, it's echoey. And it doesn't sound as powerful, as high status, or as confident when a person sounds like they're coming from their mother's basement or their mother's bathtub, even if it's a giant jacuzzi bathtub. And when people hear echo, they think of bathrooms, by the way. It's automatic. You know, how many people have you talked with? They answer the phone. You know they're in the bathroom. There's all that echo going on. And now they know you're not in the bathroom because they can see you, but it still gives that bathroom perspective. Limited edition acoustic bathtub. That's a great idea, Joshua. Joshua just put that in the chat. All right. So, and Bonnie is going to get a new mic, which is awesome. So next week, it's going to sound completely different. And Jody, how was Jody's sound? You remember?
Good.
Say something again to remind them, Jody. Anything.
I'm curious, what inspires you to consider becoming a massage therapist?
See, her sounds a little underwater. And it's a little bit underwater. It's not as clear as myself or Tom. And Shelby.
What kind of a microphone, Jody, do you have?
Yeah.
I'm just using a computer microphone.
Right. Because it's real tinny sounding, there's no depth to it. You're just really tinny, like a cheap, really cheap older mono microphone.
Like AM. You sound like AM as opposed to FM, Lexington and Tom. We sound like FM. That's the difference. And Bonnie sounds AM with a lot of echo, which, by the way, in the 50s, hey, we got the best hits of Elvis coming up today. And they would put this big echo on. I don't know why they did that, but they used to do that. Even on some super oldie stations, they do that. And the DJ has an echo, but it's AM and it sounds tinny. Right. Shelby, can you say something again to remind everybody?
I'm curious what inspires you to consider becoming a massage therapist.
All right. How does that sound? Not great.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah, I think it's all right though.
Better than Kate. It's better than Caitlin's.
That would be one step below fair, I would say. It's just, not, again, you're the admissions rep. Jody is the director of the school, but Shelby's the admissions representative. So you really need a microphone. And Tom put that in there in the chat. If you look at Tom's chat, copy that. It's $35. You can have it by, I think, Friday. And anyone who leaves this meeting today and doesn't have a plan to buy a mic, please don't come next week. But I hope you have a plan to have a mic, because we want you to get better. But we want you to take it that seriously. All right, Nancy, can you say something again?
I'm curious, what inspires you to consider becoming a medical assistant?
All right, thank you. And what would you say quality of that is?
Good.
Vaughn, you say good for everybody.
Everybody's better than mine, so yeah.
So relative to yours, it sounds better. But you don't know how you sound.
I don't.
And what would you say, Tom?
It's okay.
Yeah, it was just fair.
Yeah, it's okay.
And in fact, you know what, Tom? I want the Art of Admissions to get an affiliate relationship with Amazon, because we constantly tell Amazon, stop. My echo, I changed it to that name, because we're constantly recommending mics. We should make some money out of the deal.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Nancy, you can definitely use a better mic as well. And Joshua,
you also want a mic that you don't have to lean in like this for. I mean, you want it to be able to pick you up from at least 6 to 8 inches, because you don't want to have it, right up in your face or something like this either.
Right. Except me.
And I do have a backdrop when I'm interviewing. I just don't have it on the Zoom yet.
All right. Good.
A professional backdrop.
All right. Joshua, remind everyone how yours sounds.
Oh, sorry.
Kind of like this.
How's Joshua sound? Bonnie, how's Joshua sound? All right, he does. He sounds awesome. He's the best sounding out of all the people. Other
What's
than
on your
Tom.
shirt, Josh?
Eggnog.
Eggnog.
So his Joshua's is awesome, and he's got a real mic. And which mic do you have, Josh?
Sorry, I just dropped it in the chat. It's Amazon. It's a
It was the
$36
one I
mic.
posted.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
We got
Same
Great
exact
Minds. Yeah.
Amazon, stop.
Yeah.
So, all right, it's awesome. And Angeles, can you say something? Oh, she's gone. And Angeles is with South Coast College as well. All right, so this is so critical. And each of you hear a little bit of difference. And when you hear great sound, it automatically, I don't mean okay sound, I don't mean decent sound. When you hear great sound, which is Josh, myself, and Tom, it immediately brings this perceived status of you higher. People don't know what's going on. And the key is with great technology needs to be invisible. If people are like, oh, well, she has a so-and-so microphone that she's using, not invisible. If it's great, they don't even think about the mic. They just know, they just experience you in a much higher way. So that's the key. So ideally, all of you go forth who don't have great sound. So that would be Shelby, Nancy, Bonnie, and Jody's director, though I still recommend you have a great sound too. Would have a plan, and the mic is in there in the chat. And for those who came late, Tom, he had a very important point, which get a mic that you don't have to have a headset for, because a headset is not as professional, is not as organic, is not as natural. Because as Tom was saying, that you want to replicate the in-person as much as humanly possible. When people hear you talk, they hear you. They don't hear a whole bunch of echo in a room. And you don't see you wearing a headset like you're attempting to talk down a hijacked airplane to peace and safety. They just want to see you and hear you just like you naturally are. So that was a great point you made, Tom. All right, and Misty is here. Misty, we were just testing microphones. And can you say something to us?
Yes. How are y'all doing today?
Excellent. All right. Can you say, I'm curious, what inspires you to consider becoming a ... Pick a program?
I'm curious, what inspires you to want to become a massage therapist?
Yeah, I don't know who's training you all there.
I forgot it. Hold on. I'm curious, what inspired you to look into the massage therapy program?
I don't
No.
know. Look at Bonnie. Bonnie's your trainer.
I'm curious. I mean, by the way, I'm curious what inspires you to consider becoming a medical assistant?
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
It did the same thing to me, Misty. I feel bad.
And ideally, you all say it so much, you know the exact words. Even though, see, this is why I don't want anyone, and Tom doesn't want anyone to stop using the script. Because once you stop using it, if you do it by memory, pretty soon you're changing things. And pretty soon it's the opposite. So how was Missy's sound? Except for
Decent.
Bonnie. Because Bonnie said everyone's sound was great. So it was decent. I would say it was not indecent, but it was one step below decent. I would say a scale of 1 to 10 of 4. And there's a microphone that Tom put in the chat. I think Josh did as well. Only $36. Get it today. Order it. It'll be here by Friday.
Okay.
And and we're talking about sound. It's that critical. And Tom mentioned also.
I don't sound fantastic.
No,
You do?
no, you are. See, you are fantastic, but you don't sound fantastic. And that's a
Okay.
problem. Bonnie is fantastic, but she doesn't sound fantastic. That's a problem because you're losing credibility and power. It actually takes your admissions power away when you have poor sound. And Tom mentioned that this is one of the most overlooked areas of virtual presenting. And here's the problem. You think you sound great because you hear yourself in your office. You're not hearing the other end of it. And that's one of the keys. And I gave this example last time. I'll do this one more time today. See if it works here. Let's see. All right, I just changed my microphone. How does that sound?
Far away.
Right, far away. Now, if I did this presentation, this is my microphone on my computer. Welcome to Emissions TV, everyone. We're high-level professionals. We know the best stuff in the world for you. And you hear a difference, right?
Mhm.
And add some more reverb to that, some more echo, Bonnie, and that's you. Now, okay, now I'm back to my other. Is it back to the good sound?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's that important. But you never hear yourself except if you hear a recording. That's why you've got to listen to your recordings. How do you sound? How do you look? All right. So what are the other elements to go over, Tom, in the technological and framing aspects of virtual?
I think framing is important. So you want to make sure that you're centered, your eye level with the camera. You're not looking down. You're not looking up. That your head is centered properly there. So you want to have you want to be centered so that you come across as, again, someone of authority. I don't want to be looking down on people. I just want to I want to be centered in the middle of the frame. I don't want to be sideways, turning, what have you. So if it's not directly in front of you, put it directly in front of you, and don't use something on the side screen where your microphone's to the side of you of the main screen. You want to have the microphone and the camera right in the main area, but you want to be centered correctly. A third of your head above and 2/3 of the screen below your chin, and then your head's dead center.
Right. That's
I don't want to be
interesting.
super close. This isn't really good. I don't want to be way back here either, where I look like I just have just a little tiny head or something back here. You just want to be framed in the center so that you come across as someone of authority out there. So you want to have good distance, and again, be lit from the front so that people can see you without being washed out too much.
Right. Yep. Exactly. And these are the things you got to look at every single time before you start a presentation.
Bless you.
Bless you. That's why we recommend 10 minutes before a presentation, whenever possible, or if you're rushing from meeting to meeting, just take 1 or 2 minutes to just recheck your microphone, your video, your framing, and then the other elements we'll talk about. So Shelby, you need a green screen. Yeah. So let's take a look at the framing just to do an assessment. Now, Tom, he's framed well. For a sitting person, we do recommend you stand, and that's the next level of this. But for a sitting person, Tom is framed well. And Bonnie, you're framed a little. You need to bring the camera a little lower so your head's higher. Or actually, right there, if that's where you're sitting. Yeah, very good. But when you sit back, it's on the edge. I would make it a little lower so there's less space above your head. It gives you more power. When you lean back, then you have more space. All right, good. All right, and here, lean back again like you're actually presenting. How would you present? There's still too much space above your head. Can you still lower it? Because we've never seen you actually well framed. This will be the first time. New sound, new frame, new year. Way better. Oh my God.
Do you want me to
feel different.
do you want me to put my green screen on?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All right, and Jody. How is Jody framed?
Jody's pretty good, except she needs to move the camera up a little bit because you've got a little piece here and a lot more underneath. There you go. So there you go. That's it's much better that way.
Good. Excellent. All right. And Shelby, how was Shelby framed?
Shelby's pretty good.
Good. Yep. Shelby is good. Use better lighting. Your eyes are dark. We haven't gotten to lighting yet, but just talking framing.
The key here, though, is, that's the same light that I have as well. And having those ring lights are really important. You can get those on Amazon for $10. So getting those ring lights really important. Those are easy to use. You can use them on a cell phone. You can use them on a laptop. They're portable. Most of them are rechargeable. They just plug into a USB. They don't hold a charge forever, but they'll give you a good enough charge to get through something unless you're leaving it plugged in. The only thing on Shelby's end is, Shelby, go ahead and ask me a question. Or because when you lean back, you start to get a little,
Yeah,
you know,
a little too far away.
This space up here starting to shrink. You're starting to rise. But then if you start to talk, you have a tendency to like really start to lean in.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like right now you've just leaned in, and now you're in my living room. So not that you're not allowed to come over, but we don't want, I don't want you to have to lean in.
It's because I was holding the space bar. If I don't hold the space bar and I sit back, can you hear me okay from back here?
It's no different.
Oh, that's good.
But no, it's not good. It's echoey, I would say.
Yeah, it's echoey, but it's no different.
Okay.
Shelby, when I got you those earbuds, I think that there's a speaker right on your earbud. I think that's where it's coming from.
Yeah.
No, it's just volume on here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we recommend, Jody, that you buy the microphone that's in the chat. It's only $36.
I just bought it.
You are good. That's
are
what we're
on
talking about. All right.
That way, I just don't want you to have to lean in every time you talk, because it becomes uncomfortable for the other person when every time I'm going to ask you a question, I do this. So you're like a weeble. So.
Sorry, guys.
Or one of those.
I'm just listening intently.
So I got to become extremely annoying if I just did this the entire time with you guys. So.
All right, Tom, I'll be back. I have to step away for a couple of minutes. Tom is your host here.
All right, good. And so how about, we'll keep going around. So how about Josh? Josh framed well? It looks a little small.
To say he looks tiny in his
he's
screen.
Too far. You're a little far away, so you're getting like really, really small. You're getting way back here, and now you look. That's much better. That's like 100% better when you're much closer. So it's much more engaging. You don't need to be all the way up front, but again, 1/3 up, 2/3 down. If it's anything other than that ratio, you're too far or too close. So just adjust yourself. To be there, make sure you're centered in the middle. Because if I'm a little bit off to the side, it starts to become like noticeable, and it starts to be, everybody's got a little OCD in them. And if I talk like this the whole time, you're going to start to think, all right, this is starting to bother me. Why is this person just off to the side a little bit the whole time? So you definitely want to be dead center, because if it may not be big to you, but if you're like over here, unless you're going to be showing something up on the screen, then, and like a newscaster, then don't. So Nancy, how about you? So Nancy's off to the side. So we need to get Nancy framed more in the middle. So we want to need your camera to move to the other way. Okay, it's better. Just you want to be dead center. So if this is the center of the screen, I want to be dead center of wherever the screen may be. Here, so you want to be as centered as possible, because again, if you're not centered, people will, it's going to start to wear on people.
How about
and
now?
then Misty, yours looks good. What do you say, Nancy?
No, so that looks good now.
You're still off to the side. You need to move to your right. Either you need to move to your right, or the camera needs to move to your left. That's better. You're getting there. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. All right, now you're back to where you were. You were getting there, and so you just need to figure it out a little bit as you prepare, because you want to get more centered. And then Misty, you're centered pretty well on that. As long as your microphone can pick you up from wherever you are, just don't try not to lean back. But how you come across, how you look, how you sound is going to make a giant difference, because we know 55% of all human communication is physiological. 7% is verbal, 38% is tonal. It's your tonality, and 55% is physiological. It's how your body language comes across. And when your sound is bad, it's going to affect both. It's going to affect your tonality, because you don't sound as enthusiastic. You don't come across as enthusiastic. So your microphone affects your tonality, but your lighting, your framing, and your posture, all of that affects the physiological, which is almost as important or more than the verbal piece. So sound is really important, but if you don't look good and you're not centered, the physiological aspect of video communications is big, because again, 55% of all communications is physiological. They need to see your body language. They need to see you smile. They need to hear you smile. They also need to, see that you're engaged and you're looking directly at them, which is why looking at the camera when you're at least asking questions is important. And one of the things too that you want to make sure is that when you present, that we present, and whenever we have a serious question to ask, we stop screen sharing. So don't screen share the entire time. And the reason for that is because you start to lose connection. So if I was just sharing my screen the entire time and putting something up here, I don't know if I have anything great to share right now, but if I'm screen sharing something, let me see if I can put, I'm just going to put a piece of something up here. I mean, if I screen share this, and I'll tell you what, let's pick a program. So if I'm going to pick a program to demo for the school, I can't do it because, okay, if I'm screen sharing the entire time and I have this up there and all I do is talk and all you do is hear me, but you never see me, even though I'm in this little window to the side, I want you to see what it is I'm trying to share, which is important. But if I have a question for you, I'm curious, what'd you think of what you just heard? What'd you think? Do you see how that could be important to you? If I'm asking, not all trial closes, but if I'm asking a significant trial close, curious, Josh, after what you've experienced here today, can you see yourself as a student here? I mean, that's our bridge, that's our close. That close is never done when you're screen sharing. It's only done on video. When you close or use the bridge, that is only done on video, never in the middle of a screen share. If I'm screen sharing when I close you, you're hiding behind, you feel like you're not being seen and you can hide a little bit. I need you to see my eyes. I need you to feel what I'm saying to you. And I need you to have that connection with me. So before I close, and I'm curious, Shelby, is there anything I've said that would make you think you couldn't do this or wouldn't want to do this? No. Fantastic. So these are some of the bridges or pre-bridge tools that we would lead up to. I mean, you can use that as a close too. Is there anything I've said that makes you think you couldn't do this or wouldn't want to do this? No. Perfect. Here's our next step. Our main bridge would be, after all you've experienced here today, Josh, can you see yourself as a student here? But when you're closing or asking significant questions, do not screen share. So make sure you can alternate before. Again, our goal when we're presenting is 30 minutes. 7 minutes of that is discovery. So the first 7 minutes of your presentation is discovery. The next 3 to 4 minutes is talking about us, the features of your school, just talking about what sets your school apart, why it's a fantastic school, and how those features can benefit the students. 4 minutes. So now we're at 11. The next piece is your video tour. We have a 2-minute tour that you narrate and start and stop. It's not a video. So you need to personally narrate that tour. That's about 4 minutes long. It's a 2-minute video. With your narration, it takes it up to about 4 minutes. But this is where we get the enthusiasm. So the about us, which was the first piece, what are the features of your school? Again, I hate small class sizes, but everybody loves to use it. So small class sizes, instructors with real world experience, great career placement, great industry partners, specialization programs, flexible schedules, hybrid online learning options, as well as nationally accredited and partner, industry partners such as great industry partners that have chosen to partner up with our school. And every one of those things, can you see why going to a school where so-and-so has chosen to partner with? And then we're also partners with this school. Can you recognize any of these logos that you see here? Yeah, I see that one, that one, that one, that one. Those are, do you see any companies that you could see yourself working for? Yeah, that one, that one, that one. So as I show these pieces, it's only 4 minutes of about us. Then that sets the stage. It builds some value, and it sets the stage that, wow, this could be an impressive opportunity. The next piece is your video tour. So we've set some value. Now we're going to tour them. And the tour will take about 4 minutes of your time, no more. If you spend more than 4 minutes on a tour, you've toured too long. There's no reason to go more than 4 minutes virtually on a tour. 6, 8, 10 minutes, too long. Got to cut it down. 4 minutes is your maximum. 7 minutes already. 4 minutes went by. Another 4 minutes on the tour. We're now at 15 minutes. 15 minutes and I'm done with my tour. And that tour is just to show them what the school looks like, what some of the great equipment is that they'll be looking, what the classrooms, get a sense of the classrooms, what it would feel like to be a student. Where's the break area? What's the equipment that you work in? Can you see the equipment? Can you see the size of the classroom? Can you see all the equipment we have? Do you recognize any of this, equipment? What have you? Any signature moments and stops on your tour? Maybe it's a job board. Do you show them the job board, job postings? Do you show them success stories? My favorite stop on a tour, bar none, is a wall of instructors. So I always, in my school, we made posters for every instructor. So every instructor had a movie poster, movie-sized poster with their picture, big picture, really cool looking background, their years of industry experience, all of their certifications on there, so that I can say, hey, just want to show you our instructors here. And even if they can't see and read all of it, I just want you to see, there's 10 instructors, 20 instructors here. And by the way, they have a combined 372 years of industry experience. Do you think you can learn from 370 years of industry experience? You think you're going to get more than just what's in a textbook when you're talking with hundreds and hundreds of years of industry experience when you total up all of their work history? Also, combined, our instructors hold 27 licenses, 3 certifications, and 2 doctorate degrees, whatever it might be. But those are great little numbers to throw out. And do you see why that's important? Do you see why hiring top quality industry professionals? We talked earlier about it in our features, and now I showed it to you. So I want to show you some of the things we've talked about already that are the signature moments. What are the shops that you love the most that have great equipment, usually medical beds type of areas for medical assisting, dental chairs, things like that. Classrooms. I wouldn't show every classroom. I'd give them a sample of what a classroom looks like, maybe 2. Some of the equipment in there that you use in a classroom. These are, what is the break area? Is there a rec area? Is there a patio out back? Is there a Subway franchise? So in my school, I put a Subway franchise and 2 other franchises in my break room. So students could eat while they're there. I catered meals and I catered breakfast every morning for people. So there's always something cool. Oh, and then events and activities might be something in that first about us, because you can't really show it on video, but hey, maybe you had some great events, some awards that your schools won. Those are the about us. Then the video tour. Video gets people excited. Okay, it doesn't sell the school. As much as everyone thinks our school sells itself when they come here, it does not. Okay, my school, fantastic, most unbelievable building on earth. 1 million square feet under roof, diamond plate neon, totally decked out. We spent millions just decorating it to be basically a Harley diner for students to work in. So we want them to work in a cool atmosphere, as well as have all that equipment. But in the end, that still doesn't sell people. It looks cool, it gets people excited, and it creates that emotional connection. So the tour is going to create the connection of, this is cool, I can totally see myself here. But the piece that's going to build the most value is the next piece, which is your course outline. So now I'm going to go through the course. And I'm going to take about 4 minutes to do that. I'm going to go through every module or every course in that course, however you want to call it, every module. The first module is, If it's welding, we're going to go through blueprint reading for 5 weeks. Then we're going to go through structural shapes and symbols for 5 weeks. Then we're going to go through pipe welding, structural welding, pipe welding and safety, combination welding, code pipe welding. Then we're going to get into externships and internships. So I want to go through each of those pieces, and I want to spend a little bit on every single module that's in that course, because that's what builds the value. That's what sells your school, nothing else. Not the fact that you have hands-on training and that you have placement. In fact, in Virtual Advisor, one of the questions we ask is, what are you looking for in a school? And the lowest resulting answer was placement. Simply, that's not something that they even know about or care about. But we think it's the greatest. Oh, we have a 95% placement rate. And you know what the student thinks of that? Nothing. Okay, so you think it's great, you think it's cool, but it's all about you. Okay, how's it going to help them? It's just another piece in the wheel. It doesn't mean don't cover it. Okay, just make sure that you understand what are students looking for. Mainly, they want to know what's the schedule and what's the program and schedule information, and then they want to know what it's going to cost you. All the other stuff is going to be, or how am I going to pay for this? And the students have 3 questions: can I do it? Can I afford it? Okay, those are really the first 2, without even going into the third one. Can I do this? Can I afford it? Do I want to do this? And if you can show them a way to do that. So after you're 19 minutes in, and I just finished the program, then I'm going to go through the financial aid options that are available. Here's all the aid that's available. I'm only going to take 2 minutes to do this. We have grants, we have loans, we have scholarships, we have tuition reimbursement plans, we have veteran benefits, we have agency benefits, we have payment plans, we have all of these different things. We have student loans, we have parent loans. All of these things together potentially can help you reduce your out-of-pocket costs, and it's all going to be based upon what you qualify for. But I'm going to show them everything we have to offer. 2 minutes. That's it. I want to show them how they're going to pay for it. So I built up all the value. Now I show them how they're going to pay for it. And right now I'm about 21 minutes in. Then I'm going to go through the tuition. I'm going to take 2 minutes to cover tuition. Your total tuition is $14,500 plus supplies of $1,750. And this is also if you have an application fee, to let them know you have an application fee. All right, and we have an application fee of $50. Okay, this is your total investment. It's never a cost. It's never a fee. It's never any of those things. It's an investment. Here's your total tuition investment. Your investment is $15,450 plus ... including the application fee that's there. This is your total investment. Now, however, your out-of-pocket cost is going to vary based upon the types of aid that we just discussed that you may qualify for. Can you see how potentially moving forward on your financial aid could help you? Yes, fantastic. And then moving on. 2 minutes on that. Now I'm at 23 minutes and I'm closing. So 23 minutes in, I'm about to close. Hey, Susie, based upon everything you've seen and heard today, can you see yourself as a student here? Everything you've experienced here today, can you see yourself as a student here? Yes, fantastic. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to send you I'm going to send you our application out by email, via DocuSign. I'm going to do that right now. I need you to let me know as soon as you get it. We've also got that application fee of $50. How would you like to take care of that? And then if you have one, and then I'm going to schedule you for a financial aid appointment. In fact, if you've got time right now, I can bring in one of our financial aid advisors who could then maybe work up an estimate for you while we're on the call. How's that sound? And when I send the application, I'm going to walk them through it. Let me know as soon as you got that. I got it. Fantastic. Be okay if we flip screen sharing so that you can show me your phone or your computer, and I'm going to walk you through the application. I think this is a huge mistake for most schools is I'm going to send you the app and they never fill it out. Why? Because they get busy, life happens, then it never gets in their inbox, it goes in spam, and then something happens. And most likely when the call is over, something in life is going to happen. Okay. As soon as this video's over, I'm going to walk out of my office here, and I have a new 9-week-old puppy. I can guarantee you that this puppy is going to start jumping up and down. It's going to want to run around. I'm going to have to take this dog outside, even though there's 3 other people in this house. Okay. But you know that thing's going to want to go out. And then, it's lunchtime. Did they feed it? I don't know. We'll find out. And I'm going to forget all about what a meeting I just had because something comes up. Other people, they're going to stop. They're going to turn off the call. They're going to get another call. They're going to get a text. Their boss is going to need something. They're going to have to make hot dogs for their kids. Who knows what it is? But there's always something that's going to interrupt filling out the application. If they were at your campus, everything you do on your campus has to be done virtually. So if they were at your campus, would you let them go out the front door and just take the application with you, or do they fill it out right there? They always fill it out there, but when we're virtual, nobody does it. Fill out the application, because all of this was to move them to an application. Everything that we've done up to this point was to have them inspire them to move forward and fill out an application. That's our main goal of the whole presentation, is to inspire them to move forward and fill out an application, which is the first step. Then we'll schedule financial aid. We'll find out, what their types of aid, that they qualify for. So there's the presentation process. If you can boil it down to that, it's 30 minutes. Okay? Unless they have really great questions, it's 30 minutes. It's only a handful of slides or a handful of pictures. It's not everything that we do. And you'll find that you didn't need to do all of those other things that you used to do on site because virtually they're going to be inspired to want to move forward. All right, Lex is back in. So does that make sense to everybody? Questions or concerns about that process?
I have one.
Yeah.
It's Nancy. What about when you are discussing tuition, and then you move to the application, and sometimes they may be still pondering that idea about the financial aid. Sometimes I think that's maybe where they've already thought in their mind, I can't afford this.
Potentially. They'll let you know. Are you, after what you've experienced here today, can you do that? No, I want to think about it. No, it's it's expensive, whatever. So that's where you earn your money as an admissions rep, is how you handle those exceptions out there. But the key is, did I inspire them to at least take the next step? And the application, to me, is not all of the admissions paperwork necessarily. It's just an application. I want them to commit to taking one little step. One small step for student kind, okay, is the application. One giant leap is the enrollment and the financial aid piece. But the one small step, and everything begins with a step. You guys remember that, whatever that Christmas show was, the put one foot in front of the other song. What was that? Santa Claus is Coming to Town, or one of those. I don't remember which one. So I'm dating myself now. None of you have probably ever heard of this movie. Come on, you guys got it. Nobody remembers that movie. Anyway, so it's just one foot in front of the other. The first step is, I need you to fill out the application. I don't care if you charge for it or don't charge for it. I would typically not even charge for it. I would charge when they fill out the enrollment paperwork. But to apply, let's get started, because I want them to take a level of commitment. And I want the admissions rep to be in charge of closing. And that's because when you go too heavy into financial aid, now financial aid becomes the closers. And I don't want my financial aid department closing my students. Okay. So I want them to take the first step, get the application. If there's a concern, let's at least take that step. And one of my trial closes for financial aid is, all of my students apply for financial aid. Will you? I'm not saying you're getting it or not. It's just all of my students will apply for financial aid to see what they qualify for. Is this something you're willing to do?
Yes. Fear of missing out.
Fantastic. Yeah. I'm sorry, what was that?
FOMO, fear of missing out. Like all of my students fill out financial aid, will you? FOMO. You all
My
know
students fill
FOMO,
this out.
FOMO.
At least fill out the FAFSA to find out what they qualify for. Is that something you're willing to do? Yes. Right. Awesome. Let's get started on the application first. One small step. My next step is meeting with financial aid.
Do you all know FOMO, FOMO, fear of missing out, and utilize that. That's because they don't want to be an outlier when you frame it like that with confidence, as Tom said it, and he's saying it with confidence, just as a matter of fact, no attachment to the outcome. Can you say that again, Tom, just like you said it? It's not just what you say, it's how you say it, which is just as important.
All my students will fill out the FAFSA and apply for financial aid. Is this something you're willing to do?
Perfect.
And that's it. All of my students will apply for financial aid. Is that something you're willing to do or you're willing to take on? And that's it. You're not committing to anything. And the reason that the application comes first, as opposed to, well, in our school, they meet with financial aid, then we enroll them. So basically you and admissions are just a tour guide because financial aid are closers. So stop putting financial aid in front of the closing process because you're just making financial aid your closers and they're not prepared in any way, shape, or form to be able to perform that function.
They're terrible closers. They're not trained on how to do that. And Tom and I have worked with schools that when we go through the review process to find out who does what, I know this is a school that has 8 campuses that we work with. And turns out all their financial aid people were the closers. It was completely upside down and not nearly as effective as it could have been.
So there's your process. There's 30 minutes and that's it. If it takes you 10 more minutes to help them fill out the application, you're at 45 minutes. So every hour I can be doing, and then I'm on the phone with my next phone call or my next appointment in every 45 minutes or so, I can do this. And technically, even if you block an hour out, I can do 8 of these a day. In person, you couldn't do more than 4 or 5. And if I can do 8 versus 5 at the end of the week, I'm doing 40 versus 25. That's a heck of a lot more appointments virtually than I could ever have done in person. And depending on your staffing, I may not need many people if I can do more virtually.
No. And even a numbers game, even if your reps don't get better with closing or bridging, we call it a bridge in our training. Even if they don't get better, you got twice as many people. So if their conversion rate stays the same, you got twice as many applications and enrollments and starts. So, yeah.
And when you do virtual, we normally see about a 30% increase in appointments. So if you had 30% more appointments, so instead of 100 appointments, a month, you have 130. I know it sounds like a lot, but if you have 130 versus 100 appointments a month, you don't feel as much pressure to have to close everybody. You're still going to close at 70%. It's just, I don't have to feel pressure to move everybody to it. I can pick those students that are much more qualified and that want to move forward.
Do you mean appointments, Tom, or shows?
Yeah, appointments that show, or yes.
Right.
If you have appointments, if people actually show, yes.
Right. Yep. And if you do it well, if you do the initial call well, assuming the Zoom, as Tom calls it, and that easily you can have 20, 30% increase in shows.
So Nancy, did I answer your question?
What was the question? I came in on right after she asked that, it sounded like.
I was just asking, at the end when you are going to give them the app, but you discuss tuition, sometimes they might get turned off by what they hear the tuition is. And there's some things I say that seem like they work, but I just wanted to hear what he had to say.
Right. Yeah. So you shared the process, Tom. It sounds like.
Yep. I went through the entire online process, and
perfect.
If I build enough value and then I show them how they can possibly pay for this, the tuition is nothing. Hopefully I built up $100,000 worth of value, and then the tuition is only $15,000 investment. And that's not even what you pay. What you end up paying is going to be based upon what financial aid you qualify for. And we'll be happy to put that together. But my students will at least apply to see what they qualify for. Will you? Yeah, fantastic. Here's a pen.
Here's the bottom line. When value exceeds cost, a person applies. When value, which is perceived value, exceeds cost, a person applies. And that's why admissions reps have got to become great virtual video presenters that are not dumping information. Ooh, now I could dump even more information on them, because it's not the information that inspires someone to feel the value and perceive the value. It's the questions and the questions beneath the questions where you uncover what's important for your explorer, so that when they really get that they can get the outcome from that $15,000 investment of that new career, making more money or more fulfilling, more self-respect, upward mobility, whatever it is, when they totally get that, they get that from the inside out, way more move forward. But if you get into the weeds with too much detail, especially about, financial aid, this and that, people then move from their hearts to their heads. And why do we use video? Because it's more emotional than just this. Schools that use just the phone, they are not nearly as effective. One school went from in-person 80% application rate, closing rate, bridging rate, as we call it, down to a 10% when COVID insanity started. And they're still doing this. So, well, what's going on? Why aren't people enrolling? Because there's no video there. You're not generating nearly as much emotion on the phone, because they can't see and experience 55% of your communication, which is nonverbal, your gestures, your facial expressions, your eye contact, your posture. So that's why you got to get great at this, and you got to get feedback, because all of you have come a long way since we started working with you, but you still have a long way to go to mastery, because it takes years to get to mastery to anything. So it's not minimizing how hard you worked and how much you've evolved since we started working together, but don't think you're done. You're just getting comfortable now, which is awesome. Now there's more space to go deeper into the training, so you could become a great video presenter, which 99% of the schools aren't. they're terrible. They're boring, and they're not creating value through energy and emotion. And this virtual doesn't work. People aren't enrolling. That's because you're terrible at it. That's why. So, all right. Anything else, Tom?
That is good for this week. That's a lot of stuff.
All right. Yes. So any other questions, insights, comments, inspirations that anyone wants to share before we depart for the day? Being live streamed for YouTube on the first time. All right. Well, get those good microphones. You got the links. And if you're serious, I know you are, you get those. And they will change the perception of the people you work with. So
microphone, camera, light, and a presentation platform.
Bingo. That's your tripod, your quadrupod of success. All right. We'll see you Wednesday.
Enjoy a great Monday.
Yep. Enjoy a great Monday. We'll see you Wednesday, same time, same place.